Welcome to the show.
Yes.
Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast, episode 11.
Yes.
For this show, ladies and gentlemen, we want to get right to it today. Before we do that, we'd like to introduce our special guest, someone that Joy has known her entire life.
My whole life.
Mr. Joseph Michael Levy, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo! Burn, 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 burn. Good evening.
Fake. Yeah, get out of here, man.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, y'all.
Thank you for making it down here finally.
Drove all the way from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
November 3rd.
Yeah,
Like,
basically, yeah.
half a year later.
Actually, I think that's 3 months later.
Okay, all right, whatever.
Okay.
You got your calendar out.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So we got a good one for you guys. We're titling this show Swipe Left, Swipe Right. 10 observations about dating in the modern world. Who better to talk about dating in the modern world than a married couple right now? Someone who hasn't been in the game for almost 10 years. So that's why we have our illustrious guest host with us this week, Mr. Joseph Levy, to help us navigate these observations that we have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I feel honored. Man,
Yeah.
not quite the lady killer myself, but I feel like I could contribute.
All right. Well, thank you.
Maybe some pluses and minuses to get off my chest.
Perfect. So let's hop into observation number 1. Marketing and branding yourself in a manufactured way. So this was actually a really cool one, and this is something that Joe brought into the brought to the pre-production medium immediately. Joe, you want to expound upon this a little bit for us?
I feel like going on the apps here over the last year, it's a pretty formulaic way of putting yourself out there marketing. It's, you got 7 pictures. Like for the ladies, it's usually like 1 picture traveling. That's your wanderlust. Like I like the travel picture. Then it's the one maybe in the gym. Then it's the one with your homegirls. Like, and then some people will have the picture where it's like 10 pictures, mad homegirls. Like, which one profile is this? I don't know. But like it'd be mad random. But yeah, there's definitely a formula. Like some people go so far as to pretty much like have professional Instagram photos. I've seen a few where it's just like you thirst trapping, like you got your Instagram on your profile.
So, Joe, what's your, when people have their bios or whatever, what's the most common, bio thing that you see?
Oh, my goodness. Need somebody to travel with, Netflix and chill. Like, there's a question built into the app. Like, what would you rather do on a Friday night? Go to the club or go to Netflix? 80% of people say Netflix. Like, it's like, okay, whatever, man, we get it. And then most of the time it's people like stunting on they traveling. And I guess that's not bad. Let me not frame it like that. People are entitled to their experiences, but it just seems like it becomes so routine that it's just like, give me something different. Like, do you build boats in a bottle or something? Something random.
Yeah,
I know
like
that's
something
mad random, but like
more personal.
Yeah, more personable than like, okay, everybody go to the gym, everybody likes to travel, everybody eats tacos. Like, yeah, like okay, yeah. Some people don't like pets, like so it's pretty formulated, pretty routine. It can get mundane, even though it's like trying not to be.
So have you put something on there to make yours not as mundane? Like, do you have a joke or
like low key? I dislike. Most people love Harry Potter, like the girls that be on the apps. I know this is mad random. They be loving Harry Potter, dog, and I'm like, due to the last person I was talking to, y'all already know about that situation. She liked Harry Potter. So I'd be like off it. So I kind of like diss Harry Potter and be like, if you like Harry Potter, then I like this anime character on some geek stuff. You know what I mean?
I think it's all interesting, right? Because the way you presented it, like you're pretty much, the first step in this whole, dating online is there's the dating app side of it, and then there's just the straight social media sites that people try to holler at you at. But either way, it seems the game now is you're selling a profile.
Yeah.
Like that's really what your goal is to really, as we said earlier, to market yourself so you can get that initial click or get whatever you need to do. So be it being selective in what photos you use to portray yourself, finding clever lines or even having co-authors on your
For sure.
profile. It seems like it's an art and a science almost at this point to get it down right, because if you play it wrong, you might find yourself out in the cold. And it seems no different, than LinkedIn in terms of setting up your LinkedIn profile to look good to prospective employers or your coworkers. So, how long did you actually think about what sites are you actively on right now, and how did you make those decisions, and how long does it take you to set up your profiles? Is it like boom, 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 or is it like active thought to each and every picture, info, bio information? How does that happen?
Well, right now I'm really not really active on any of them. Sometimes it's a time passer, and I think we'll get into that here later. But I mean, there's Bumble is the one I've used. There's Tinder, obviously. That's like the main one that everybody knows. And then there's OkCupid. That's what I was using beforehand. And like on OkCupid, it's a little bit more, you can type a lot more. So you can kind of put a little bit more of your personality forth. But like on Bumble and Tinder, it's pretty much just like Twitter. You got 140 characters, I think maybe 200 and something, to really try and put yourself on like that. And so yeah, it's easy enough. And then for the pictures, just a varied amount of pictures. I mean, I was joking on people who put the travel pictures, but I mean, I do it too. It's just pictures you feel like you look your best in. That's what I like to do. I mean, I don't have the
method.
curated, like mad curated selfies and all. Like, I don't got all that. It's just like decent pictures. That's how I did it. And it really hasn't worked.
But I was
So maybe I need to get on this like lifestyle branding of myself.
I mean, on LinkedIn, can you like filter your picture? Cause like I mean, not to sound bogus, but it's like on LinkedIn, yeah, you're gonna have a picture of you in a suit with a headshot or whatever. But on these, like, it's another element because people are like photoshopping and filtering the picture. So it's like the person you see on there is not the person you might see in person. And it just makes it seem like it's all about this trying to be perfect, level of like perfectionism, and people are looking for not only themselves to seem perfect, but whoever they select to seem perfect, which is impossible. So
I would say out of my experiences, like 3 of the 4 people that I like went on a date with, like they look like they picture. But then again, too, I guess that goes into who I was like attracted to, that they seem not really concerned about trying to put on an image.
yeah.
So it's not too much of a difference, but sometimes it can be.
I just think it's interesting, like with the branding of yourself, it's like that somebody just be bold enough, like not even to leave a bio, they just put like a link to their Instagram. Or like too, I think it's interesting that people will be on multiple sites, but they'll be like a different person on each site. I thought that was interesting to discover. Like on Bumble, they'll like be a professional, whatever, and then on Tinder, they like in a muscle shirt.
To me, it's the intentions or, the presumed societal intentions of each app. Like Bumble, it's supposed to be a little bit more respectful. It's marketed so that women have the first say.
Yeah.
And who they choose. So it spawned from how Tinder was kind of sleazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the scumbag. And then most people with Tinder, they know what it is. You know what I'm saying? They trying to whoop-de-whoop, wham. But yeah, like, I mean, all jokes aside, but that
wasn't a joke.
Stop playing with me, dog. All right. But yeah, that goes in line. But yeah, it's funny how people recreate their whole life, like on social media. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much now your profile is your first chance to make an impression versus when I was in the game. You had to have the right fit.
Oh,
you had to smell right. You had to make sure your lining was on point. Even if you couldn't afford the haircut, you at least had to have your lining on point. Because back then, chicks knew if your lining was off. I don't even know if they care about that now. The way a lot of these people look. So
man.
Definitely. First impressions happening now through these profiles, and it's a bit challenging because you can manufacture whatever you want.
I think that segues to point number 2.
Number 2.
That we observed is that people are dating out of their league. Something that I noticed just from researching and from like seeing people randomly on these Tinder dates is that it seems that people are dating about like 25% above them. It'll be like me trying to shoot my shot at like the star basketball point guard that I would never do that in person. But on Tinder, I'm about it, and I'm gonna like shoot the shot and like set up that date. Like I've seen it before, like a girl with a dude, and I'm like, you with her? And then you find out, oh, they on a Tinder date. Or I was at a party and somebody brought a girl, and the dude literally was super cute. He looked like, I don't know, Bradley Cooper or something. And the girl, she had loose boots, if you know the loose boots. And I was just like, how did y'all get together? Like, and then he said, this is a Tinder date.
So what is loose boots? Glossary. Hit me with the glossary.
It's when your boots don't, like, your boots is supposed to be fitted to your leg, not like when you can put your hand inside. Oh, if you can put your hand inside the top by the knee part.
Oh, so you can sneak a whole fifth into the party in your boots.
She had loose boots, and I'm not trying to rib.
Dang,
she was tall, she was thin, but the loose boots and the face, it wasn't a matchup. I'm sorry. I was like, but the point is that you going outside of your league, and then the dude that actually is in your league, you're kind of passing him up, because I feel like the dating apps, they kind of can get you to start feeling yourself, because mad people is trying to holler at you, and all of a sudden you think you're like kind of better than you are, and then that's a bigger issue. So
conversely, and I brought this up before, like what is a league though? Like maybe that confidence is good, maybe it's not. And then like you said, also to flip side that it is like when you don't be getting swipes, you be like, dang, I'm trash. Let me get that Planet Fitness going off or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you be feeling
people be depressed.
Away.
Like,
yeah,
like I don't know. I just think it leads to people missing out on something that might be right in front of them, because they're looking at what's, far off, when it's something really good, like right in front of your face.
Or trying to mold into something that's not reality, which is the social media.
And I think that's the bigger thing. I think you have access, right? So we're not just talking physical looks. I mean, that's a big part of the 25% off. It's obviously, a physicality theme, but I think in terms of professional aspirations, typically if you're, let's say, successful in your profession, no matter what it is, you probably want somebody that's going to compliment you in that. So I see a lot of people who aren't nearly, let's say from a looks component, let's say you're on par, let's say professionally, you might not be at that same level. And then I think that kind of creates a disparity, because even when you're on your first date, you might be looking to go someplace simple. They might want to, go to a speakeasy someplace that you've never even heard of. And you're like, oh shit, how do I get there? Let alone try to mess with this person. So I think that's another key component. It's not just about the looks. It's about common interests, where you are professionally, education wise, and all of that stuff. Like people, just because you have access to somebody that's going to look good for that profile you're trying to manufacture, that online persona, doesn't mean they're going to be the best match for you when it comes to real life. And like to Joy and Joe's earlier point, people are skipping over the people they should be fucking with in order to go outside of their
we can swear on here
zone. We can now.
All right. Straight up and down. All right, well,
cool. So I think this is a good segue into number 3. So one of the things that for me that I find intriguing about online dating is it gives you an opportunity to meet people outside your natural environment. If you think about where people typically connect, or if you think kind of call it 2013, 2014, when the apps really started to come in and take over, you were either introduced by somebody, a family member or a friend or a coworker, or you went to college together, you might have been coworkers, or you have some type of shared life experience. I feel what these dating apps are doing, it's pulling people outside of their comfort zone, pulling them outside of where they normally hang out to meet people. So you might be here in the city of Chicago, and you might be a South Sider primarily, but now you might have to go to the North Side now, because you actually connect with somebody who you think looks good. You have enough things in common. You both on each other's bio. So guess what? You're going to have to go past downtown even to meet up with this person. And I think it put you into a new and interesting situation.
I could see that being positive and negative. I know being in little old Milwaukee, oh my goodness, let's talk about people you wouldn't usually commune with. Like, if we're going to keep it frank, like, I would say if I did out of 20, 3 will be black women or women of color. Like, the rest is usually like white women on the apps.
Mhm.
So in that regard, it kind of does make you kind of challenge what you have built for yourself and the comfort that you have built for yourself. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, which most people put, I would say, on like Bumble and OkCupid, Tinder, not so much. But if you're looking for that and you have an idea who you want to spend your long life with, especially in the social climate we're in, is that really good that you want to step out of your comfort zone? Or I don't know. It's interesting. It could go both ways.
It's always nice to know that you could be the new person in a setting.
True.
Like to her and all her people, you the new guy, and it's an opportunity for you to
For sure.
really present yourself in the way you want to be presented. Not nobody remembering some stuff you did back in high school,
For
or
sure.
that one embarrassing moment that you might be marked by, or something like that. Like, you do have an opportunity to brand yourself to the person you are today moving forward versus who you were to who you are now to who you be moving forward. I think that's always an interesting dynamic that these dating apps could provide to somebody, that really wasn't there before.
So it's basically like a fresh start.
I think so.
And that's something I realized, like, small Milwaukee, like, everybody knows everybody, Joy. You know, growing up there, it's a city, but really it's like on some
Yeah, it's
small
a small
town shit.
town
Like,
city.
this one knows your cousin. You're going to have like 5 mutual friends across the social media apps. But with the dating apps, to your point, Coley, you meet people that's like, ah, man, I didn't know you were from here. Or it gives you access to somebody who may have moved to the area. Why you would want to move to Milwaukee? Like, you better be getting a meal or
Good
better.
job.
Yeah, decent, super good job. But anyway, it's trash there. That could be another episode. But
Oh.
let me not diss. Let me
Oh,
stop.
the
Okay,
L-Mill.
anyway, back on topic. It gives you, like you said, access to somebody who might have a fresh perspective.
But it also gives you connectivity to people, like, not just in your own city. Because you can, like, branch out. Like, if you wanted, you could meet up with girls in Gurney or Waukegan or Chicago, so that you really would not meet every day in Milwaukee.
For
So
sure.
it
Yeah.
helps people to connect. Like, if it's nobody in your town that's like you, like, it might be somebody in the adjacent town. And with the dating app, you might meet them.
Quick story, like, I went on a date this here last summer with a girl. She was from like Skokie or what? I can't remember the
A
exact
northern
area.
suburb of Chicago.
Yes, northern. Yeah, one of them northern suburbs. Y'all know all the sets around here. The sets. Nah, I'm playing. But y'all know all the areas. I don't be really knowing. But she was in Milwaukee, and then I was kind of like a little bit like skeptical about the city growing up there, moving back there for whatever reason. And I kind of felt like an asshole because she really liked it, and she was like a nice girl. So yeah, make you like rethink where you at, rethink where you could go.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll move into number 4, which is with dating online, there at times can be too many options. There's like the FOMO, the fear of missing out, especially the younger you are. You might feel like, I can't commit, I can't do this because I just saw this girl and she's super hot or whatever. And then too, with relationships, you got to establish that, like, if one person still swiping on these sites while the other person is not, and then it's like, are you missing out? Like, it just seemed like it's too many options, especially if you fit the mold. Like, if you're that attractive guy and you're already
Or a lady,
attractive,
or a
or a
lady.
lady, right? So you already getting attention just on the street regularly. Then on top of it, you on the internet, like, you probably getting hit up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then that kind of goes back into, like, I guess that social media tide, and now social media romantic tide depression. Because, like, imagine if you weren't swiping, but the person you was talking to, you option 1 of 5. So you gonna feel like, what do I got to do to be enough? Like, you're breeding that insecurity, like,
Yeah.
before you can build just a relationship at the base. So yeah, that could be
Like
bad.
trust. Like how do you trust each other? Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
I think you guys hit it all on the head. I think, I just think back to when I was dating, like this idea of too many options. I kind of felt the opposite. I felt that I had no fear of missing out. I had a fear of not squeezing all the juice out of the relationship or the situation I was in
Mm.
before I moved on to the next one. So that was my take on it. Because even you might have had like a bunch of people you can call and hang out with their options. I felt that it would take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month before I could find someone new to go on a meaningful date with. Don't get me wrong, like you can go out with somebody, meet for happy hour, have fun what you want, but if you're trying to get chose or whatever, like you want to make sure you like. I always want to make sure I like squeeze out the juice. So it's weird to see this paradigm shift where people like want to quickly like see what all their options are so they don't miss out, but not worrying about like, okay, like I'm walking away from joy. I should be worried that someone else is going to scoop in, but it seems like people aren't worried about that. They feel there's going to be something else out there waiting for them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily the
But
case.
yeah, but again, it all ties back in. It's a microwave culture. We move very fast. You know what I mean? And faster now more than ever. And as technology gets better, it's gonna get even faster. So I guess again, it goes back to that marketing. Like if you can't brand yourself, but you're in that medium, maybe it just kind of like you shouldn't be in that medium because you got to get it on that first impression. That's where you're gonna make your money at, figuratively.
That's true.
But technically, it's your second impression because that first impression came via that profile.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why it's because there's always a fresh batch of profiles to look at to know what you have. And so if you feel something ain't 100% that first go round, you out. Like I was content. You know what? This is 70% of the way there. Maybe let me do some more digging and clawing. I feel like I can get like that other 30% out along the way, and that'll be the journey. And if it's not coming fast enough, that's when it's come. That's when it's time to jump ship. But that might just be a me feeling. But I feel like I owed it to that myself and whoever else that other lucky lady was sitting across from me.
Oh man!
Before
you see these hearts in the air, like Cupid in here now. We got 5 people.
I just felt I owed it to us and make sure I committed to that situation for however long like I was gonna make it a situation. But that was me.
Yeah, he got a red shirt on today, so he feeling himself. And that love in the air.
Man.
Call me Cupid Valentino.
Oh, watch out. And I heard you say choosing. Shout out to Goldie from the Mac. You chose.
You got chose. Right? So, all right. So, but number 5, this all flows, I suppose, that relationships are disposable. To Coley's point, how he said, you might get 70% and then you trying to squeeze out the other 30, like give people a chance. Like I feel as if people are just weeding out their options just like a little too quickly. And I think that just all ties into one, you choosing somebody that's kind of like 25% above you. Then on top of it, you might weed out somebody because you'll look at their profile and be like, in the Air National Guard, he doesn't have a college degree. That's my brother. And then you might just like swipe by him because he doesn't have
secret.
He doesn't because he doesn't have a college degree. Like I think people are like weeding out options. And then if you actually do find somebody you're interested in, I know it's mad people out there like putting the person's name in Google, looking up their Instagram, looking up their Facebook, trying to look through their whole past. And then if you find that one little thing, you're going to weed them out before you even meet them. So it's just like relationships are disposable, and they're disposable too because you feel like you got so many options and you just going to be like, I got 5 other dudes in the wait. Like, I don't got to put up with your BS.
They literally be on them apps. Like, I've seen this plenty. They be on there trying to get flued out and get food out. You know what I'm talking about? I guess if that's what you're trying to do, because I've seen that too. Like people will explicitly state, like, I'm only here for friends. Some people will say, I'm here for, a sexual, non-committal relationship. Like if you down for that, then I guess you know, the disposable nature. It suits
There's
you,
people
but
out there trying to like change it, like, oh, like I can change him once he gets to meet me. Like
for sure.
he'll change, even though that is what they did put in the profile.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like,
But it goes back to the microwave culture. Like, it's a convenient way to get what you want and then, you know, dispose of it if that's what you want to do. But it is like making things very disposable, I
And
think.
just to build on that point, I think the whole the word convenience is right there. I think what people are trying to do now, you know, again, I felt like for me, I was trying to get to know somebody. I feel what people are doing are taking online profiles and trying to find what's wrong. So let's say, and I know I've helped people do this before. Let's say I found out like, oh, you going on a date with Joe Levy? Let's look him up. Boom. Then
Oh,
you see
that
the
too.
hit. You'll get the hit. You'll see the LinkedIn profile, where they work, where they graduated from. You'll look at the Facebook thing, look at their
They
pictures,
gonna
see what
see
they
me
really
looking
look
goofy
like.
with the
To
Raekwon
see if,
t-shirt on,
yeah,
looking
oh,
dumb.
yep. You see, oh, dude was fat 2 years ago. Okay, you might lose it again. You don't know what you see, but I feel what people are doing is they're taking a small slice of what's portrayed online and using it as a way to exit out of a situation before it gets going,
It
right?
could be tight.
Like people are literally disposing people without getting a chance to know them, to not like them, so you can at least have a level of closure or what you need to look for the next situation. It's just like yeah, you can see when a situation's not going anywhere, like so hop out of it. But there are some times where you're looking for something to be wrong, and if you look, you'll find something wrong with anything. You'll find something wrong with the Mona Lisa. You'll find something wrong with Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" speech. But like look to see what's right and look to see if you can
And
make
wait.
it work and wait it out a
yeah.
little bit. Don't just dispose of people because you can just with the flick of a thumb find somebody else, because you might not be finding a better situation. So I think I think that's a big thing. Like give shit some time and then let's see where it can go.
Like, I put that on. You got to put a job. And at the time, I was working at the unit. And now, even now on mine, I have it like I'm a full-time student. It's like I'm not going off for, you know, something small. It's low-key engineering. Like, and in my mind, I think maybe somebody will see that and be like, oh, this guy has the potential to, I mean, I guess, you know, have a decent career if that's one of your qualifying factors. But I know most of the time that's already writing me off. Like I said, I'm an old head now, post 30, like an adult student. So some people probably be like, nah, I
You should
need.
have graduated by now.
Yeah, yeah.
What
I'm
the
at
hell
my
are you
5th
doing?
year of my career in the hospital because it'd be mad like nurses on the apps. Like, shout out to the nurses, like working that night shift with Batman and Spider-Man and them. But bad geek
didn't
joke.
understand
Anyway,
that.
Batman that night. Anyway. But nah, like, yeah, you see people, they have their professionalism set up. And again, it goes back to building that like ivory tower. Like, you want somebody that's gonna look good, I guess, with you instead of somebody that might do good for you or really be good for you. So
Yeah, and just to build off of the relationships are disposable, it's just our point number 6, which is that dating has become a job in the modern world. So a relationship could just simply become disposable to somebody just because they don't have the time. Like people are working working like a mug, and they just don't have the time to put into like these dating apps. So when they finally meet people and they on some like BS, it's like, dude, I don't have time for this. I gotta work. Like a lot of people are on these apps, like how you talked about the nurses. They're on there because it's convenient for them, and they like
True.
nurses have really weird schedules.
real.
So it's probably like just a matter of convenience for them that they're on the apps. It's like, because when you're on a dating app, you gotta put in the time to make the profile. You gotta get the right pictures. You gotta say a cool bio. You got to fill out, like if you doing eHarmony, like that's like 300 mad questions
That's
on
it. Yeah,
eHarmony.
that's a little bit more.
But still, I'm just
I
saying,
know.
like it's time consuming. Then you got to respond to the people that send you comments. And then finally, if you get to that point of a date, then you got to make time to have the date. So it's just like when somebody is on some BS, like, yeah, you going to dispose of that relationship. Like, sorry.
I will say this, like the last girl I was talking to on there, like yeah, we linked up. Like, she was cool and all of that, but it was just like, I feel like we went on our first date, and then quite literally, like after that, it was like we got right in the final season. Y'all know that was my first semester, and like y'all know it was tough coming back to school after that long time. I was not in school, so it was just like, yo, I can't. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. Like, I gotta, unless you gonna help me with these fractional equations, like we can have a study date. And then two, working at the VA, that was the only job that was there for me at the time to get in money. So, and that was on the weekend. So yeah, you gotta,
Whether it's
you juggling.
before there was an internet, whether it was like just dating sites, then dating apps, I feel like people make time for what they want to make time for. Like this notion of dating being a full-time job, it was the same way. Like for us, Joy, when we was trying to like make it happen, we had to like, and we were long distance, so we had to make it like, to make it work, we had to like commit the time, and like we had our careers going, we had our stuff going, so we just had to make the time to make it work. I think, one of the things, one of the fun things for me doing this show was coming up with this list with you guys. And then the more and more, for me, the more I thought about it, I said, yeah, there's things different and the apps have created a level of convenience. But I said at the end of the day, people are still looking for the same stuff they've always been looking for. Either you're trying to you trying to get booed up, you trying to smash, or you might just be looking for friends. Like either way, that hasn't changed. That's been since caveman times. That's what you're looking for. All these apps have done have created convenience. So I know a lot of people talk about the challenges of dating with the apps and what they do, and like the kind of the skill that and the will that you need to be successful. But like the shit is the same. Like you're still looking for the same thing. It's just the game has shifted a little bit, and you just have to go with the apps because, people are finding love and their partners and have like started families off of these apps. And the apps, the dating sites again, have been around for a long time. The apps have only been around for like 5 years or so. So it's like, like a lot of these, the more and more I sit and go through this list, some of these, kind of seem like cop outs. Like when people want to dispose, like the dates being disposable, like, yeah, you want to move on to something else because you don't want to put in the work. And because you don't want to put in the work, that's why people be in a late 30s, early 40s, still trying to figure it out because they're not willing to put in the work, and they find ways to dodge that, in my opinion. So,
or it's other people that it's the people that they're interested in might not be willing to put in the work too, because it's a two-way street. Right. So everybody got to be willing to be on board and put in the work.
Well, I kind of have a counterpoint. Like for me, sometimes, like that's just a statement I've heard, like, around. People say you make time for what you want or something. What is it? You for what you want, you'll make time for. Sometimes, no. Like, I mean, because with the young lady I was talking to, I was like in school at that time. It was like hot and heavy. Like I could not afford to, really give any time up there because it was like the end of the semester. I was trying to make the grade. Y'all know for me with the GI Bill, you got to make a certain. So I literally couldn't. Plus it just was a lot going on at that time, like otherwise. And I think she had some stuff going on too. So we might have wanted to, but sometimes real life come knocking, you know what I mean?
But if you don't have time and if real life comes knocking, it's like, it's not that hard to let somebody know.
That too.
I mean, because people just be ghosting people.
That too.
And then it's like, that's when it becomes a little bit bogus, and that's when it becomes disposable. It's like, all it takes is a 5-minute like, hey, I think you're a cool person. I'm really busy right now.
Yeah, and that's what I did later. After like everything cooled off, like after the semester, I kind of let her know like, hey, I was busy. And just to not have that ghosting on me, like that stigma, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I fell off. I was kind of busy because low key, I kind of did just like stop but I was busy for
Yeah,
real.
but by
I
then the
sent
girl is like done with you. She's
Yeah,
like
that's-
done with
Like,
you.
but you could send a text while you taking a shit.
Yeah.
There's time to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not that hard.
I'm calling bullshit. There's
That is-
time
yeah,
to
low
do
key.
it. Trust me.
All right,
It don't.
take me
It
to
don't
trial.
take. It don't
I'm
take. It's
guilty.
30
I am
seconds to
Yeah,
send
you
a
don't
text.
wait
You
till
don't.
it's done.
You don't want to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with not wanting
Maybe
to.
it was nerves a little bit.
It
was
could have been all
nerves.
the above, but like that's the thing. Like there's a lot of excuses and a lot of lack of accountability. I'm not like trying to call you out because I get it. Like we've all done that. Just
Yeah.
like just
Well-
I've never just stopped because that just wasn't what I wanted to do. At the end of
Yes,
the
he
day.
has in the past. Proceed.
to your point, that's why.
Get
Oh
off your high
man!
horse,
Oh
buddy.
my goodness! There's some shell casings on the ground.
I never
Shots.
started. In order for me to stop, I would have
He
had
invited
to have
me to
started.
lunch numerous times and did not call or show up.
Oh,
Good day, sir.
But 7 years later, here we are. There's a heart over their head.
She's talking about yesterday.
Man.
Anyways,
Nah.
so, but ladies, give him another chance.
And to your point, for the guys, like if you ghost, like you gonna feel like a jerk because it's like, oh man, I haven't responded for a few days. If you feeling that person, and then you gonna be like, oh, should I say something? My chances probably passed. For me, I did, and I felt a little better. I was like, yo, I'm sorry about this. Sorry about the gap. In this way, who knows if something comes back around?
There.
You could at least say, like, I sent you that text. Like, that's the good thing about like written communication. Like, it's a record, unless somebody just like deleting it. Like,
I got
fuck this
receipts.
guy. He ghosted
Yeah.
me. Like, delete. Like, but yeah, like it is receipts. Like, hey, I sent this to you. Remember that? Did you see that? Like, I wasn't really trying to ghost you. So,
That's fair.
but you
Yeah,
should,
that's
if you feel a way about like being a ghost, you should like just send a message. Be like, my bad. Good luck. Maybe we can reconnect, and then that's it.
So that would lead us into our next point. Point number 7, something that I discovered from listening to NPR. It was just talking about how with dating online nowadays, there's just a lack of intimacy or just romance, I guess, just emotionally and physically. Because people, to me, it just seems like people can, instead of trying to like discover what they want, they literally can be like, this is what I want, and I need you to fulfill this for me. And there's like not an emotional connection anymore. People just, they text all the time. It's just like people are not connected on like an intimate level. Like how everybody assumes like, oh, with the dating apps, people are smashing and having sex all the time and hooking up. Like actually, if you look at the research, they're really not, because people are so like awkward face to face
Yeah.
nowadays. So I think that the intimacy level is an issue.
Yeah, I mean that ties in the social media era.
Yeah,
Excuse
just
me.
social
Yeah.
media
A
overall.
lot of people with Twitter fingers. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
can have something clever to say online, or when it's only like a sentence, you can do it. But when you have to carry a hour-long conversation over drinks and dinner, it can become a completely different situation. So the
Mhm.
easiest thing to do is to bail on that, and then because of that, you lack that intimacy or that ability to connect with people on a real level. You might be able to do it physically every now and then, but more often than not, like the people who are saying they're going out and fucking every time they get on these apps, these are the same people that would probably be doing the same thing without the apps. Like,
Yeah, they
let's
gonna
just
find
be
a
real
way.
with it. Like,
Like,
they just probably getting people that don't live in their neighborhood.
yeah,
but
that's
like-
your.
So,
Yeah,
like,
they gonna
that's the
find
thing.
it.
Like, people don't know how to talk no more. People can do emojis. People can do WTF and FML and memes, but people don't know how to talk. Don't know how to ask questions about just ask questions to the other person and pull more information from them. Like it's just like a lost art, and because of that, people don't be wanting that connection. Like don't get me wrong. There's always going to be thirst traps out there. People just looking to jump on something, but that intimacy and those stats are actually not surprising. When you show me that stat, Joy, it wasn't really surprising. The more you think about it, the more these people are conditioned nowadays. Like I some of these kids that I pretty much call anybody under 25 a kid. Sorry, Nick. Like, they don't know. I see them. They cornballs. They don't know how to. Sorry, Nick. Again, not talking about you, but in general.
Hey, Nick
Yeah.
got on
Yeah,
shirt,
exactly.
like fresh.
himself.
Like
He probably doing well for himself. The thing is, like they cornballs and don't like have charm or game or be able to like kind of flow or like move within a relationship. And I feel that's lost more and more. Not saying I have it. Definitely need some work there, just being awkward myself. But I think that's just the lost art in this lack of intimacy. I think is directly correlated to that.
But maybe it's, I feel like, being a middle child, shout out to J. Cole and this little song. That's basically what it was about. But between y'all's generation and then the younger generation, like say Nick, maybe it's different. And Nick's really not that young, but maybe it's different. You know what I mean? It may not be lost. It's just a different way that certain people move. And I don't know. It could be that. But I think overall, with the social media aspect,
It's just like people can literally think of what they're going to say to you, whether it's a nice thing or whether it's a super mean thing. So the main thing, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, like if I'm trying to send a nice thing to Coley, I can literally go on Pinterest and look up nice things to say to your husband, and then I can like copy it, put it in a text, and then send it. And like somebody can do that in a nice way or a super mean way.
True.
So it can tear somebody apart, so and destroy the intimacy or build it up. It's up to you.
True.
Let's move into our next point 8, and that would be, you gotta just accept that not all dating apps are for you. Like there's so many apps out here. I think it saves time if you're willing to realize like, okay, this one's not for me and move on. Like if you're really trying to find somebody, like don't invest so much time in something where it's just not working out.
True.
So I don't know, like we had the example of the Bumble. Like if you're a woman and you don't like the concept of a guy rejecting you, then maybe that's not the like app for you. Cause like the guy has to accept, like you choose the guy, but he has to accept you. If you don't get into that, that might not be the app.
Kinda. It's how it is the guy will swipe, and then if the girl swipes on that guy, then the lady has to say the first thing. So they have to like reach out. So they have to hit you with some game, I guess.
Yeah.
And then if that girl hits you with some game and you don't hit her back, like
there
that
it
crushes her, because it's kind of like you showed interest, I showed interest, now you dipping. What happened? So you have a lot of females when they get ghosted in that situation, they actually felt as if they put themselves out there and then they got hurt because of it. So I know a lot of dudes feel like ain't nobody swiping me, won't. But like if a girl does hit a dude up and she don't hit him back, like that like hurts her like self-esteem like it would a guy. So I think that's something to take into account when we think about the interaction on these apps. It's like there's still feelings, like, and I think that's what people miss out on. Like there's still feelings involved with all of these things, each and everything. I think people become kind of so casual about it because they're trying to protect their feelings, and I think that protection of the feelings is overtook putting yourself out there. That's what like at some point you're gonna say I love you to somebody, and they may or may not say it back. I know the first time I said it to somebody in this room, I didn't hear it back right away.
Yeah, we weren't a boyfriend or girlfriend or anything, so that was inappropriate at the time.
So as far as I'm concerned, like, I put myself out there. It paid off in the end for her.
Oh man.
And now, I'm kind of deviating off the point with the app. So I just feel like there is something like there's feelings involved with this shit.
But the difference is, it's like with the dating apps, it's like that's why people are just like so private, because like when we were like, if somebody like, you're not gonna be the last person like selected to dance at the prom anymore. It's like no. Like back in the day, everybody saw like, dang, nobody will dance with her. But now it's like nobody will dance with you, but you could kind of like nobody knows that because you're on a dating app. Like it's like private. It's a little bit more like private to me. So if that's the case, it's like, why are you wasting so much time on something that's not working out? Like move on to another app or try another profile, especially as a woman of color. Like if you're on the app and you're getting the super random fetish messages and like texts like, it's Thanksgiving, I ate my food and I would like chocolate for dessert. It's like, dude, get off that. Like, move on.
Right.
Like, you not people be doing that.
It's
like
true.
for real.
It's
like
mad inappropriate.
Like you need to like just find the app, whether it's Meetup, Instagram, wherever you getting likes and getting hit up by relatively okay dudes. Like go there.
Or for me, like I think my new thing, the new wave for me is just like existing in real life. Like don't, because I mean, I guess you could say social media is becoming a social construct for people. So you just exist in real life and see where that goes. And I mean, if you're gonna put yourself out there, because that's something too. For me, the dating apps, I feel like I'm kind of antisocial in a way. So for me, the dating apps is like comfort. Like it's not, I don't have to approach or start a conversation. But for now, my mindset is like, okay, you can put yourself out there, wear your heart on the sleeve, but make sure your shirt is bulletproof. If you get that analogy. Oh man.
Titanium.
Bars. No. But like just exist in real life. Maybe, step out, get out of your comfort zone, and that might actually work versus going on any app at all. Cause they're all a little different. I would say I feel like OkCupid is like the one for the most honest one, the best. Bumble is like, I don't know, the high class, and then Tinder and Plenty of Fish. That's like the
Bumble's
low.
like Sex in the City app.
Yeah, low key, like Sex in the City. Like that's where you're gonna see I'm a nurse practitioner. Getting back to that again, shout out to the nurses and the doctors out here. Like you gonna see random jobs. Like what, dog? You a surgeon? Like what? Fam, yeah, it's that high end upper crust.
And then eHarmony and Match.com.
That's like, hey, Grandpa, I heard you back on the market. Why don't you?
Am I gonna have a new grandma?
Yeah, bust that 20 out.
But
do that 300-page profile. Answer them 300 questions.
To your point, though, like these apps are more visual mediums. Like you like Plenty of Fish. It sounds like that's more word driven. So I think that whole notion, like these are all built on visual constructs, what you look like, what you can portray. I think that's made it a little bit more challenging. And I think that's actually a good segue into point number 9. What something that we observe now is people want to keep their social life separate from their dating life. And by that, we mean people keep their dating life private from their friends and family. Like, Joe, you've been talking about this girl you've been hiding heavy with on all these dates. It's the first time I'm hearing about this.
Word. I mean, it ain't go nowhere. Like,
exactly. So I'm like, I'm trying to play it off. Like, I'm trying to make eye contact with Joy. You know about this?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Exactly. We both sitting here like, this to that end. I think, again, if you met, whether it was college, through a family member, coworker, friend, whoever it was, there was a reason like that you got there's always a reason that you could be in that relationship and you owed it to whoever hooked you guys up to try to make it work. Like if you think about, like we talked about these relationships being disposable, like people have just become, we don't want to say rude, but more blunt and direct with a lot of these relationships. If they feel you don't look like your profile or they're just tired, they'll like stand you up on a date, but you ain't gonna do that to you ain't gonna do that to your sister's best friend or your mom's friend's friend or whatever.
Somebody you're gonna see.
You're gonna try to. You're gonna at least be cordial, and I feel like that cordiality is lost within this construct, and I think people have worked to keep it separate, but I think it's kind of been to their detriment because you don't get that gut check. You become so enamored with this idea of being with somebody that you don't do what you need to do to keep the relationship healthy.
Right. Yeah. Or you can. To me, when they're keeping it separate, I understand because it's like you don't want to deal with that rejection. It's just like when you were in high school or even college, when everybody knew who was dating who and then who broke up with who and even why they broke up. Like there's an element of like shame, embarrassment, like, dang, it didn't work out. You got to explain it to people. Like you just don't want to have to do that. And with the dating apps, it allows you not to have to do it. You could just keep it over here. It's a plus and a minus, but it could be it's just how you make it, what you do with it, I guess. So anything else to add on that point, or are we moving on? All right. So our very final point. Point number 10 is just dealing with communication in the dating world and how much it's changed. Like when me and Coley first started dating, I mean, we had to talk for like hours, because that was before you could like call before 9. If you called before 9, you had to pay. You texted before 9, you had to pay, and now it's just like you can just text, unlimited text.
Text for 10 cents a text.
Wait a minute.
It was 10 cents to
Y'all really
send and 5 cents to receive. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Like 15, like you
had
look
to
up,
wait
you
till
spend
after
30
9.
extra dollars just texting, like
Paying
damn.
by the character. Remember
Yeah.
that? Shout out Two Ways. Motorola going off.
But yeah. To what Joy is saying, like people, because of social media, because of character limitations, people don't know how to fucking communicate with one another, both in the real world and now I feel like even online wise, like people have lost their minds. And I think when it comes to these dating things, again, people treat these dates as if they can just, like, they're an IG post that you no longer like, that you can just delete. And I think like this whole idea of like how you communicate, it's just like dying. It's dying a slow death, and it's sad.
Like people don't talk on the phone. What makes it interesting with the dating is like you like to hear each other's voice.
Yeah.
Like that's a good element. Like you should just talk to each other. Like the constant texting, or I don't know. And people don't initiate as much either.
Well,
Like,
I mean, to talk, like on your point of talking, vocal intonation, inflection in your voice. Like, I mean, I guess there's science to that. That's why ASMR videos is like going off nowadays. Like, your voices can relax people, and you know, voices can turn people up. Like, I mean, shout out hip hop music. You know what I mean? It's important, and I mean, even like I would say, I talk to my homeboy. Like, that's not a romantic relationship, but it's a friendship, a relationship that you have, and it counts, like, rather than just sending a message. Like last month I tried to reach out to all of my friends and like really reach out, and it is like becoming a lost start to do that. Like the first 5 minutes talking to them was like kind of rocky, like, you know, it feels awkward, but then you kind of get back into it.
yeah.
So I think it is becoming something that's lost.
And I feel like tones matter. Like I want to
For
hear
sure.
the tone. Like I like it, it's nothing better, and there was nothing better definitely during the early stages to hear the excitement in your voice, Troy, when we would talk on the phone. Like I know you like were looking forward to
Oh.
getting home into that conversation that would start after 9 because no, you know what? We both had AT&T, so we could talk before then. That was
But
a
we
big
couldn't
deal.
text.
Definitely could not text. Let's not get carried
Hey,
away.
You should have went with that Sprint
I heart
PCS.
But no, it was just like tones matter. Knowing that I have, you know, your relative undivided attention. You might have a TV show on in the background, but like I know you're not on a date with somebody else. Like there's not this 2-hour inexplicable pause where you were clearly doing something else with somebody else and then didn't tell me. Like there's like just direct communication that's caring and sensitive, and then there's just compassion in it. And even if it's you're not feeling the person or the relationship, you could still communicate as adults in a meaningful way.
I've seen that too. Like it just talking really helps to people, because you know, online, period, people say the craziest shit ever, but then like they not about that. Like, you know, they not gonna say that. And then sometimes like what could be misconstrued, like you were saying, Coley, like on a text, or Joy, like both of y'all, somebody read a text. If you like actually talk to them, it could flip, like do a whole 180, and you could be in there. Yeah, so it's important, but it is maybe getting lost. But we on a podcast right now. How meta is that? Like, and people like to listen to people talk on podcasts. So
True.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, think, you know, hopefully we gave you some things to think about. I know it was a fun show for us to pull together. A lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff we didn't hit. We'll probably come back with a part 2 and probably have several guest hosts with us, because we have a lot of people to add to this conversation. But biggest thing is, you know, whether you're doing it through an app, through a website, or through meetup groups, or through a connection through a mutual friend, just, you know, give whatever relationship 100% of you, even if it's only for an hour. Like, just give 100% of you, and then if you want to ghost after that, do that. Just for me, just give it 100% of what you have, and then see where it goes. You're not feeling it, just get out, because you never know what you're gonna miss or how that person's gonna play in your life later on.
It's true.
True.
Yeah.
So as you guys all know, we like to end each show. Joe, I know you've listened to every episode twice, so we like to end each show with a little segment called "Things We Wish We Would Have Known." The biggest inspiration for this segment was making sure our kids had these little nuggets from their parents and the people that we bring on, because everybody that's been on this show is a deep, close, and personal family friend or a family member. And we want to make sure they walk away with these nuggets of knowledge to hopefully they can learn from the lessons that we learned in our lives, so we can hopefully make their lives a little bit easier. So remember, when you're saying this part will be for your niece and your nephew. So I'll kick it off just to do it. So something I wish I would have known. The time we're recording this episode. I lost my father about 2 months ago. And a thing I wish I would have known, just with losing a parent, it's much different than losing any other loved one. Lost all of my grandparents. You have other aunts and uncles that have been lost along the way, but the loss of a parent is always profound. Just because so many things that happen in my life have been with them or because of them, and bring you that memory. So I can go on, I can do a whole show on this, just nonstop, just stream of consciousness. But I would just say, people, if you see somebody has lost a parent, just know, if you ask them, are they okay? The answer is no, they'll never be okay. Life is never the same. I'm establishing a new normal and what my life means without my dad. My mom is doing the same thing. So just, if somebody lost their parent, just spend some extra time with them, give them an extra long hug, or be compassionate, because they might not say it, but they do need it. They might not say it, but they definitely need and want it. So just be with those that have lost a parent.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. I might wish something that I wish I would have known. Oh, something that I wish something that I wish that I would have known is just, I'm gonna go back to the dating game. But I would just say with the dating is, just don't like count yourself short. Like, even though you might know all your downfalls, like, oh man, my stomach is super fat or whatever, but I got skinny legs, but a big belly, whatever your issue is. I'm just saying. Um, I'm just saying, whatever your issue is, whatever your downfall is, it's like 9 times out of 10, you got way more stuff that's better. And it's like, sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, just even in the dating game. It's like, don't count yourself short. Don't think like, oh, he would never like me, I'm not good enough. I mean, in the end, I know we said the point about don't date outside of your league, but it's like, know your league, like, know what you do have to offer, and know like what is a good catch to you, and believe that you are a good catch. Like, you just like big up yourself. Like, people be like, big up yourself. Like, for real, do that. Like, don't be like, oh, I got a pimple on my cheek, or like, stop thinking about everything that's wrong with you, and just have some confidence with what's right, like what's going well with you. And if somebody doesn't select you, that doesn't mean necessarily it's something wrong even with you. It could be like how Joe said, he has stuff going on in his life. You just don't know what is going on with people. So if somebody comes back, like, give them a chance, because you don't know what was happening at that time, and just like know your worth, know your value.
Close us out, Joe.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mine isn't really as heavy,
It's
but it's
okay.
something I've been thinking about, and really it's twofold, but I'll make it quick because we got to wrap it up. One thing is something I wish I would have known, and I'm starting to know now. Pursue something that somebody or people may think is arbitrary, that's not going to go anywhere. I know that sounds very cliche, especially in the current culture of like chase your dreams in spite of, but it's real. Pursue something that might seem arbitrary. I say that because Recently, it's something small, but it's interesting to me. I started playing Super Smash Brothers for Nintendo Switch. Now, back in the day, I started playing in 1999 with my best friend. Now, esports and like all of that stuff, that stream of revenue that comes in just for playing a video game is like going through the roof. They're now building a esports like arena, if you will, in Philly. Like it's getting crazy. And like what 20 years ago, people would be like, yeah, gaming, professional gaming, what are you doing? Like, but I mean, if I would have known then what I know now, like, I would have just went for it. So like, even if it seems arbitrary, have that foresight, have that confidence on Joy's point to just go for it. Cause like now I wouldn't mind trying to compete in Super Smash Brothers. Shout out to anybody that want to get their jaw tested. Anyway, and then yeah, my second point kind of goes into what the episode was about, just living reality. Like this past month, I've kind of really limited my presence on social media. Some of it was because I was kind of in a hard stretch here these last few months. Kind of part of it goes back to us losing Coley Blake Sr. Like that kind of affected me. We lost our granddad, me and Joy. And it's just kind of like you got to evaluate your reality. Like forget FOMO, forget day grass. Like look at your own lawn. Don't even think about how the grass is greener. Just live in reality. Like that's something I wish I would have known as a younger adult. So yeah, that's my two.
And I think no better way to wrap up the show. This is the Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast, episode 11. We out.
Peace out.
Peace.